The late afternoon sun cast long shadows through the Florida ceiling windows of Chauncey's servant, home office. His fingers traced the architectural plans spread across his custom design desk, checking measurements for the Downtown Cultural Center project. The clean lines and innovative use of space would make this his firm's landmark achievement, assuming his business partner Rick hadn't mishandled the client meeting again. A ringtone shattered his concentration. Carrie's personalized tune, the first few bars of "Sweet Child O' Mine" that she'd insisted on programming herself. His 13-year-old daughter should be enjoying spring break at their Lake Tahoe vacation house with her mother and younger brother. "Daddy?" Carrie's voice trembled. Chauncey's hand stilled on the blueprints. "What's wrong, sweetheart?" I saw something awful." Her breath hitched. "Mommy. She's with Uncle Rick at our vacation house." The pencil in his other hand snapped. "What do you mean with Uncle Rick?" "They're saying horrible things about you." Carrie's voice dropped to a whisper. "And they're doing things I shouldn't see. I recorded it. I'm sending you the video." Chauncey's phone buzzed with the incoming file. "Where are you right now?" "In my bedroom." "Tony's in his room too. Mommy thinks we're playing games online." "Stay there. Don't let them know you've contacted me." His voice remained steady despite the rage building in his chest. "Are you and Tony safe?" "Yes, but Daddy, it's bad. The things they're saying about you. I'm going to watch what you sent. Call me immediately if anything changes. I love you, Carrie." "Love you too, Daddy." The video started playing on his phone. His wife Miriam, the woman he built his life around for 15 years, wrapped in the arms of Rick Barnes in the great room Chauncey had designed himself, with its sweeping views of Lake Tahoe that had inspired countless family memories. "Chauncey's so predictable." Miriam's voice dripped with contempt. "Always at the office, always with his precious projects. He makes it so easy." Rick's laugh echoed through the phone speaker. The great architect, too busy building other people's dreams to notice his own house crumbling. "The kids barely see him anymore. It'll be simple to prove he's an absent father." Miriam stretched languorously on the custom leather sofa Chauncey's anniversary gift to her last year. "The courts love giving custody to the primary caregiver. And once we have control of the firm," Rick's hands roamed possessively over Miriam's body. "His clients already prefer working with me. They find him too intense." The video continued, each moment a fresh betrayal. Chauncey's expression hardened, but he forced himself to watch every second. These weren't just lovers plotting an affair. This was a coordinated attack on everything he'd built. His phone buzzed again. A message from Tony. "Dad, check your email." My laptop caught more stuff. Chauncey opened his email to find multiple video files from his 11-year-old son's gaming setup. The boy's explanation was succinct. "Needed better Wi-Fi for streaming. Laptop has a good view of the living room." The new footage revealed deeper layers of treachery. Miriam and Rick sharing wine and schemes. "The firm's vulnerability is in the international contracts." Rick gestured with his glass. "If we time it right, we can force a sale before Chauncey realizes what's happening." Miriam nodded, her expression calculating. "My lawyer says his work schedule is enough for limited custody. No judge wants children raised by nannies while Daddy works 60-hour weeks. And the accounts? Almost ready. Once everything's transferred, we'll have our fresh start." Miriam's laugh was cold. "He's so busy double-checking building measurements, he never notices the banking alerts." Another message from Carrie appeared. "Daddy, look what I found on Mom's phone." Screenshots filled his screen. Months of manipulated communications, school events with changed dates, deleted messages about Tony's baseball games, parent-teacher conferences mysteriously vanishing from shared calendars. Every missed moment. Every time Miriam had said, "Don't worry, I'll handle it," all orchestrated to paint him as the absent father they needed for their plan. The doorbell's chime cut through his dark thoughts. Through his office window, he recognized Elsa Barnes' Mercedes in the circular driveway. Rick's wife, and one of the state's most formidable family law attorneys. Chauncey met her at the door, his expression guarded. Elsa's normally perfectly styled blonde hair was slightly disheveled, her designer suit showing signs of a hastily called meeting. "The children contacted me first," she said without preamble, striding past him with an armful of documents. "Your daughter is remarkably resourceful. She found my number in your emergency contacts list. How long have you known?" Chauncey led her to his office. "About the affair." 3 weeks. Elsa spread papers across his desk with practiced efficiency. "About their plans to destroy you. That's what brought me here tonight. Your children's evidence was the final piece I needed." Chauncey studied the documents before him. Bank statements, business contracts, legal filings waiting for signatures that looked suspiciously like his own. "They've been methodical," Elsa continued, her professional demeanor cracking slightly. "Rick's been laying groundwork at the firm for months. Miriam's been systematically alienating you from the children, while documenting everything that could paint you as an uninvolved father. And you've been building a case." "Of course." A cold smile crossed Elsa's face. "Did you think I spent 20 years becoming one of the top family law attorneys in California, just to roll over when my husband decided to trade up for a younger model? No offense to your wife." "None taken." Chauncey's voice was ice. "What's our next move?" "First, we protect your assets. I've already prepared the necessary paperwork." She pulled out another folder. "Then we secure your custody position. The children's documentation of Miriam's manipulation is golden. Judges hate parental alienation." The firm. "Rick's been sloppy. Too confident in his charm. Not enough attention to detail." Elsa's smile turned predatory. "He forgot I review all his major contracts. The evidence of misconduct is substantial." Chauncey studied the woman before him. Designer suit slightly wrinkled, steel in her spine. Righteous anger barely contained behind professional poise. "Why help me? Why not just destroy Rick on your own?" "Because our spouses didn't just betray us. They tried to destroy us." Elsa met his gaze. "They plotted to take your children, my career's reputation, both our financial futures. That deserves a special kind of response. The kind that leaves no room for recovery." "Precisely." Elsa began organizing the documents into action items. "The children are a priority. Everything else is collateral damage." Chauncey's phone buzzed again. Another message from Carrie. "Mom and Uncle Rick went out for dinner. Left us with pizza and Netflix. Tony's documenting everything." "My children are remarkably efficient conspirators," he mused. "They're survivors," Elsa corrected. "They've watched their mother systematically try to destroy their father while pretending everything's normal. That kind of gaslighting forces kids to grow up fast." Chauncey picked up one of the financial documents. "How much time do we have?" "Based on the evidence, they're planning to move within the month. Rick's been liquidating assets. Miriam's been researching schools and other districts." Elsa's efficiency was coldly impressive. "We need to be ready before they realize the children have chosen sides." The phone buzzed one final time. A video message from Tony. "Dad, you should see this. Mom forgot she gave me her tablet password." The recording showed Miriam and Rick in the vacation house kitchen, planning their future. Once the divorce starts, Chauncey will be too focused on the firm to fight for custody. Miriam's voice was smugly confident. "He'll probably thank me for taking the kids off his hands." "And Elsa?" Rick lounged against the counter. "Any chance she'll cause problems? Please, once we're done, she'll be lucky to keep her law license, let alone contest anything." Miriam's laugh was cruel. "No one will believe Little Miss Perfect once those documents surface." Rick's tone was sharper. "Let's just say I've made some investments in creative record-keeping." Miriam sipped her wine. "Trust me, by the time we're done, they'll both wish they'd never met us." The video ended. Chauncey looked at Elsa, saw his own cold fury reflected in her eyes. "Still want to show mercy?" she asked quietly. "No." Chauncey's voice was deadly calm. "Now we make them wish they'd never betrayed us." "Good." Elsa began laying out their battle plan. Because I've spent the last 3 weeks preparing for war. As night fell over the city, 2 betrayed spouses plotted justice in Chauncey's office, while 2 children in a Lake Tahoe vacation house gathered evidence against the parents who had underestimated them all. The foundation of Chauncey's life had cracked, but he was an architect. He knew that sometimes the strongest structures rose from complete demolition. And this time, he would build something absolutely unshakable. With steel in his spine and ice in his veins, Chauncey Cervantes began planning the systematic dismantling of his betrayers' lives. They had thought him too absorbed in his work to notice their schemes. Now they would learn exactly how detailed, methodical, and ruthless an architect could be when protecting what was his. In the Lake Tahoe house, blissfully unaware of the storm about to break, Miriam and Rick returned from dinner to find their victims quietly playing video games, never suspecting that their careful plans were already crumbling. Undone by the very children they had dismissed as pawns in their game. The first act was ending. The response would be devastating. The next morning's sunrise painted Lake Tahoe in deceptively peaceful hues. While Miriam and Rick slept in their betrayal-tainted bed, Chauncey's home office had transformed into a war room. Screens displayed security feeds, financial records, and a cascade of damning evidence. The vacation house security system shows they're still asleep. Carrie's text appeared on Chauncey's phone. Mom took a sleeping pill last night. She always does when she drinks too much wine. Elsa's fingers flew across her laptop keyboard. Your daughter could have a future in surveillance. She gets her attention to detail from me. Chauncey studied the asset protection documents before him. What's our timeline? We have a 4-hour window before they typically wake up. Elsa pulled up a calendar. The beauty of arrogant people. They're creatures of habit. Another text from Tony. Uncle Rick's phone is unlocked. He left it charging in the kitchen. Want me to forward his emails? Your son's rather skilled at intelligence gathering, Elsa remarked. He tests security systems in his gaming streams. Chauncey's smile held no warmth. Turns out those skills have real-world applications. The incoming emails revealed Rick's broader treachery. Client meetings scheduled without Chauncey's knowledge. Proposals modified after signing. Project budgets with suspicious discrepancies. Your wife isn't the only one who's been manipulating records, Elsa noted, scanning the documents. Rick's been systematically undermining your position in the firm for months. Can you prove it's deliberate? Chauncey asked. Elsa held up a flash drive she had copied from Miriam's laptop. I can prove conspiracy. The drive contained letters, drafted but never sent, outlining their entire plan. Detailed strategies for isolating Chauncey from his children. Scripts for turning clients against him. Lists of sympathetic judges for their eventual court battle. Bank account numbers in the Cayman Islands. They documented everything. Elsa's tone was coldly satisfied. People this convinced of their own brilliance always do. Chauncey's phone buzzed with an update from Carrie. Mum's calendar shows dinner reservations tonight at La Provence, their usual 3-hour business meeting. Perfect. Elsa began organizing documents into action folders. That gives us time to implement the first phase. While their betrayers plotted over French cuisine, Chauncey and Elsa orchestrated their response. Emergency court filings prepared. Bank accounts flagged for suspicious activity. Property titles secured. Business records protected. Dad. Tony's voice came through the speakerphone. I mapped out their whole routine like you asked. They're super predictable. Tell me. Every morning, they wait until they think we're busy with activities. Mom goes to the spa around 11. Uncle Rick makes business calls from the deck. They meet for lunch at 2, then shopping or hiking until dinner. And you've documented everything. Video, audio, timestamps. Carrie figured out how to sync it all with GPS data from their phones. Elsa raised an eyebrow. Your children are remarkably thorough. They're survivors. Chauncey's voice held pride, tinged with sadness. They learned to gather evidence the moment they sensed something wrong. Smart kids. Elsa pulled up another document. Now about the custody arrangements. The evidence of parental alienation is compelling, but we need to ensure the children's immediate safety. Already handled. Chauncey brought up a secure messaging app. My head of security has a team ready. Once we move, they'll ensure Miriam can't interfere. You trust them. Hassan Patton was my roommate at Stanford. He's handled my firm's security for a decade. Chauncey's expression hardened. And Miriam's affair killed his sister. What? His sister was my lead project manager. She discovered Rick's financial manipulations last year, had a heart attack after a confrontation with him. The official report said stress and pre-existing conditions, and unofficially, Hassan's investigation suggested Rick threatened her, but we could never prove it. Chauncey's voice was steel. Now we don't have to. This ends everything. A new message from Carrie appeared. Mom's bragging to her friend Sandra on the phone. Says by next month, she'll be living in the Tokyo penthouse you designed for the Shimizu project. That's interesting. Elsa's smile was predatory. Considering the Shimizu contract specifically prohibits personal use of their properties. Rick knows that. He helped draft the agreement. Yes, but your wife doesn't. Elsa began typing rapidly, and her recorded conversation just gave us leverage with one of your biggest clients. Throughout the day, the children continued their surveillance. 12:15 p.m. Tony, Uncle Rick's calling lawyers in Singapore. Something about transferring assets. 1:30 p.m. Carrie, Mom's showing her friends pictures of her new life. They're drinking champagne and laughing about how you'll never see it coming. 3:45 p.m. Tony, got footage of them planning how to break the divorce news. Mom says she'll cry and blame your workaholic tendencies. Uncle Rick's coaching her on looking vulnerable. Each message strengthened their case. Every recorded conversation. Every documented meeting. Every arrogant assumption that they were too clever to be caught all became weapons in Chauncey and Elsa's arsenal. Hassan arrived at sunset, painting the office windows gold. The firm is secured, he reported. Cards deactivated. Passwords changed. Servers locked down. Rick's access is limited to public areas only. The overseas accounts. Frozen pending investigation. My team found irregularities that required immediate action. Hassan's smile was grim. Amazing how many red flags appear when you know where to look. And the children's evacuation plan. Teams in place. Safe houses prepared. Once you give the word, we move. Hassan laid out detailed protocols. No one will interfere. Elsa reviewed the security measures. Impressive. But what about Miriam's potential reaction? My sister's death taught me to prepare for everything. Hassan's voice held controlled fury. She won't have time to react. As Mike fell, the pieces aligned. Chauncey's phone lit up with a final update from Carrie. They're leaving for dinner. Mom's wearing the diamonds you gave her for your anniversary. She told Uncle Rick they'll fund their fresh start once they've locked you out of the accounts. Chauncey studied the chessboard he kept in his office, a gift from his father. Do you know why I excel at architecture, Elsa? Tell me. Because I understand that every structure needs a strong foundation. He moved to peace, and that removing the right support at the right time brings down even the most ambitious plans. Check the security cameras. Tony's message interrupted. You'll want to see this. The vacation house feed showed Miriam adjusting her dress in the mirror, Rick's hands possessive on her waist. Poor Chauncey, she laughed. Admiring the diamonds. Always so focused on building things, he never noticed his life falling apart. He'll learn soon enough. Rick's smile was smug. By the time we're done, he'll have nothing left to build with. And Elsa. Miriam's voice dripped contempt. The perfect wife with her perfect career won't be so perfect once those documents surface. Rick kissed her neck, ready to destroy some lives. Beautiful. Born ready. They left for dinner, laughing about their cleverness, never noticing Tony's gaming laptop recording every word or Carrie's phone transmitting their arrogance to the people they planned to destroy. In Chauncey's office, Three people watched the feed with cold satisfaction. "Shall we begin?" Elsa asked quietly. Chauncey looked at the chessboard, then at his phone displaying his children's messages. Every betrayal, every manipulation, every mocking laugh, all led to this moment. "Yes," he said simply. "Let's show them how much attention I've really been paying." Hassan began implementing security protocols. Elsa initiated legal proceedings, and Chauncey, the architect they had dismissed as too absorbed in his work to notice their scheming, began the systematic deconstruction of their carefully planned future. In the Lake Tahoe house, two children who had learned too early about adult betrayal continued gathering evidence. Their loyalty to truth and justice surpassed any misguided loyalty to a mother who had underestimated them so badly. The response was in motion. By the time Miriam and Rick finished their celebratory dinner, their world would be crumbling, destroyed by the very people they had planned to destroy. And in the end, they would learn that some betrayals demand more than mere revenge. They demand complete architectural demolition, followed by reconstruction stronger than before. The second act was ending. The aftermath would be justice served cold, calculated, and absolute. Monday dawned over Lake Tahoe with deceptive serenity. Miriam's keycard clicked against the front door lock with the confidence of someone who believed they owned the world. The red arrow light blinked back at her. What the hell? She tried again. Nothing. Her phone wouldn't connect to the house's smart system. Even her emergency key, the one she'd smugly hidden from Chauncey, refused to turn in the lock. Fine. She dug out her phone to call the security company. "We'll do this the hard way." The call went straight to a recorded message. "All security inquiries for this property must be directed to Haas and Patent Security Services." Inside the house, the smart home system activated. Every screen from the kitchen tablet to the living room's massive display lit up with the same video. Carrie and Tony sat side by side, their expressions unnervingly calm. "Hi, Mom." Carrie's voice filled the house. "By now you've figured out something's wrong. We wanted to tell you ourselves." Tony continued. "We chose, Dad. Don't look for us." Carrie's smile was cold. "Your boyfriend's wife has a surprise for you. Good luck with that." The video looped. Every screen, every speaker, playing their children's judgment on endless repeat. Miriam's frantically dialed Rick's number. "Get over here now. Something's wrong. The house is locked. The kids are gone. I'm already on my way." Rick's voice was tense. "The firm's security system locked me out. None of my passwords work." "What? How?" "I don't know. Just wait for me." 20 minutes later, Rick's Mercedes screeched into the driveway. He found Miriam pacing on the front steps, her designer outfit from last night's dinner crumpled and stained with frustrated tears. "It's not just the house," she burst out. "My bank cards are declined. My phone's locked out of everything except basic calls. Even my Instagram is deactivated." "Calm down." Rick reached for her, then froze as another car approached. A sleek black SUV pulled up. Hassan Patton emerged, his security team flanking him with professional precision. In his hands, 2 thick envelopes. "Mrs. Cervantes." "Mr. Barnes." Hassan's voice carried the cold satisfaction of long-awaited justice. "I have deliveries requiring your signatures." "Hassan." Miriam stepped forward. "Thank God. We need access." "That won't be possible." He held out the envelopes. "These first." Rick grabbed his envelope, tore it open. His face went ashen. Divorce papers. Business dissolution notices. Court orders freezing his access to company assets, and a personal note from Elsa. Surprised. "Darling, you shouldn't be. Next time you plot to destroy someone, make sure their children haven't already chosen sides. Oh, and those offshore accounts you thought were so clever. Frozen, along with everything else. Enjoy explaining that to your mistress." Miriam's envelope contained her own set of revelations. Divorce filing, citing adultery, and parental alienation. Emergency custody order granting Chauncey full custody. Financial freezes on every account she thought hidden. documentation of her systematic manipulation of family schedules, proof of her conspiracy to destroy Chauncey's reputation. "This is ridiculous," she sputtered. "No judge would. Every judge would." Elsa's voice cut through the morning air as she emerged from a second SUV. "And every judge will." She approached with predatory grace, tablet in hand. "Would you like to see what else we have? The video evidence, the recorded conversations, your detailed plans to commit fraud. You can't prove. Actually, we can." Elsa's smile was razor-sharp. "Your children are remarkably good at gathering evidence. Must be all those tech skills you dismissed as wasteful gaming." Rick, step forward. "Now wait a minute." "No, you wait." Hassan's security team moved subtly, blocking any retreat. "My sister waited when you threatened her over those financial discrepancies. She waited until her heart gave out from the stress of your threats." Rick's face went even paler. "Oh yes," Hassan continued. "We found her recordings. All of them. The DA is very interested in reopening that investigation." Over the next weeks, revelations cascaded through their carefully constructed world. The preliminary hearing was brutally efficient. Elsa presented documented evidence of systematic parental alienation. Carrie's video footage showed Miriam coaching Rick on how to manipulate client contracts. Tony's recordings revealed their plans to drain company accounts. Hassan's investigation exposed the full scope of Rick's financial misconduct. Their professional circles imploded. Clients withdrew from Rick's projects en masse. Miriam's social media influencer contracts canceled over moral character concerns. Country club memberships revoked. Charity board positions eliminated. The children's testimony proved devastating. Carrie detailed years of systematic schedule manipulation. Tony presented his meticulously logged evidence. Both children chose to live with their father, their testimony leaving no room for custody challenges. Throughout it all, Chauncey remained focused on his children and his firm. He attended every baseball game, every school event now accurately recorded in shared calendars. The Cultural Center project proceeded smoothly, its success undimmed by the scandal. 1 year later, the high school auditorium buzzed with anticipation. Carrie stood at the podium, her valedictorian medals catching the light. "People talk about truth as if it's fragile," she began. "As if it's something that can be hidden or twisted or buried. But I learned something important last year. Truth has a way of building its own foundation." In the audience, Chauncey sat with Tony and Elsa, their hands clasped. His architectural firm had doubled its projects under his sole leadership. Tony's gaming channel, focusing on strategy games and digital security, had hit 1 million subscribers. Near the back, clutching a guest pass, Miriam watched her daughter shine. Her designer clothes were gone, replaced by off-the-rack business wear suitable for her new job as a junior real estate agent in Nevada. Rick was conspicuously absent. His legal troubles over his sister's death had made attendance impossible. "Some people think foundations are just about support," Carrie continued, meeting her father's eyes. "But any good architect will tell you there's more about integrity, about building something that can withstand any storm." The audience applauded, but Carrie wasn't finished. "My father taught me that sometimes the strongest structures rise from complete demolition. My brother showed me that the best strategies come from patient observation. And together, we learned that real loyalty isn't about keeping secrets, it's about standing for truth." In the parking lot after the ceremony, Miriam watched Chauncey help Carrie arrange her graduation robes for photos. Elsa adjusted Tony's tie while he showed her his latest game design on his tablet. They looked complete. A security guard appeared at Miriam's elbow. "Your guest pass has expired." "Ma'am," she turned to leave, then paused as Carrie's voice carried across the lot. "Dad, is Mom still there?" "Yes," Chauncey answered simply. "Good." Carrie's voice was clear. "I want her to see what she lost. Every achievement, every celebration, every moment of joy. I want her to know exactly what choosing lies cost her." Miriam walked to her modest used car. her expensive heels, the last remnant of her previous life, clicking on the pavement. Behind her, she heard Tony call out, "Hey, Dad, should we celebrate at the lake house?" "Perfect," Chauncey replied. Elsa made reservations at La Provence, the same restaurant where Miriam and Rick had plotted their future, now serving a very different kind of justice. That evening, Chauncey stood in his home office, addressing his advanced architectural students via video conference. "Remember," he told them, "sometimes the strongest foundations are built after the original structure falls. But more importantly, remember that what you build must reflect what you value. Integrity isn't just about materials, it's about every choice you make." He ended the call and turned to find Elsa in the doorway. "The children are asking for you," she said. "Tony wants to show you his new security system design." Chauncey smiled, taking her hand. They walked together to the family room, where their rebuilt life stood on foundations of truth, justice, and unshakable loyalty. And somewhere in Nevada, in a small apartment, Miriam opened her mail to find an invitation to Tony's middle school graduation. On the back, in his precise handwriting, "You can sit in the back, watch what your choices cost you." Again, the price of betrayal, it seemed, would be paid in endless installments of regret. Epilogue. 5 years later, the Manhattan skyline glittered through the floor-to-ceiling windows of Cervantes and Associates' new headquarters. Chauncey stood at his drafting table, reviewing plans for the Singapore Sustainability Complex, their firm's most ambitious project yet. A wall of awards testified to their meteoric rise since the reorganization 5 years ago. His intercom buzzed, "Mr. Cervantes, your daughter's documentary team is here for the interview." At 18, Carrie had leveraged her early experience with digital surveillance into an award-winning documentary series, Foundations of Truth, Stories of Betrayal and Justice. Her first film, chronicling her own family story, had earned critical acclaim and sparked a national conversation about parental alienation. "Send them up." Chauncey adjusted his Italian silk tie, a gift from Elsa on their second wedding anniversary. The office door opened to reveal a confident young woman leading a professional film crew. Carrie's resemblance to her mother had faded, replaced by a poise that was entirely her own. "Ready to talk about the renovation project, Dad?" She directed her crew to set up. The series on rebuilding after betrayal needs its architectural perspective. Always, Chauncey smiled at his daughter's metaphorical approach. "Though I suspect this interview isn't just about buildings, it never is." Carrie checked her notes. "Did you see Mom's latest appeal was denied?" Hassan mentioned it. Chauncey's expression remained neutral. Something about insufficient grounds for reconsidering the financial settlements. "Third attempt this year." Carrie's laugh held no sympathy. She should have read the prenup you and Elsa drafted more carefully before trying to contest it. The years had not been kind to Miriam Cervantes. Now Miriam Wilson, after a brief, disastrous marriage to a minor real estate developer. Her Nevada real estate career had faltered under the weight of her documented history of fraud. Each attempt to rebuild her reputation was met with Tony's viral videos analyzing patterns of deception, or Carrie's documentary clips showing her orchestrated betrayal. "How's her new job?" Chauncey asked, though he already knew from Hassan's regular reports. "Still giving tours at the Reno Convention Center." Carrie adjusted her camera. "Apparently, she tells anyone who will listen that she used to be married to that famous architect, at least until security reminds her about the non-disclosure agreement." The NDA had been Elsa's masterstroke protection for the children in exchange for a modest monthly stipend. Every time Miriam violated it, the payment decreased. "And Uncle Rick," Carrie's tone dripped irony, "still serving his sentence for financial fraud and criminal harassment." Chauncey moved to his desk. "Though I hear he's up for parole next year." Rick Barnes had learned too late that threatening the wrong person's sister had consequences. Hassan's evidence about his role in her death had opened floodgates of financial misconduct investigations. His attempts to blame everything on Miriam had only accelerated his downfall. "Tony's doing a live stream about the case tonight," Carrie mentioned. His Strategies of Justice channel hit 5 million subscribers last month. At 16, Tony had transformed his gaming expertise into a thriving career analyzing real-world cases of corporate fraud and digital deception. His signature sign-off, "Remember, every betrayal leaves digital footprints," had become a catchphrase among cybersecurity professionals. The intercom buzzed again. "Mr. Cervantes, Mrs. Cervantes is here with the Tokyo contract updates." Elsa entered, her legal briefcase replaced by architectural portfolios. After their marriage, she'd returned to her first love, architectural law, and now headed the firm's international contracts division. Their partnership, personal and professional, had become legendary in industry circles. "The Shimizu Group doubled their investment," she announced. "Apparently, your design for their eco tower impressed the board." The same tower Miriam thought she'd be living in. Carrie's smile was sharp. Life has a sense of irony. Speaking of irony, Elsa set down her folders. "Rick's former clients are bidding against each other for our services. Hassan's security protocols have become the industry standard. Hassan Patton's security company now protects half the Fortune 500's architectural data. His sister's case had revolutionized digital security in corporate architecture, her legacy living on in ways Rick never imagined." "Did you tell them about the foundation?" Carrie asked, adjusting her lighting setup. Perfect timing. Chauncey pulled up a presentation. "The Cervantes Foundation for Family Justice launches next month, focusing on supporting children affected by parental alienation and corporate fraud. Mom tried to contact me about that." Carrie's expression hardened. "Wanted to contribute her perspective to the launch event." "Let me guess." Elsa's voice held amused contempt. "Another violation of the NDA. Already documented." Tony's voice came from Carrie's laptop, his gaming stream visible. "Added it to the evidence database. Her stipend drops another 10% next month." The years had taught Miriam nothing about digital footprints. Every attempt to contact her children, every social media post about her unfair treatment, every angry email to Chauncey's firm, all meticulously logged and costly. "How's the new house coming along?" Elsa asked Carrie, changing the subject. "Dad's design is perfect." Carrie beamed. "The recording studio has amazing acoustics for documentary voiceovers. And the security system Tony designed. Mom won't be making any surprise visits." Unlike her surprise last Christmas, Tony's voice held dark amusement. Did she really think showing up drunk at the firm's holiday party would work? That incident had cost Miriam her real estate license. Her recorded rant about stolen lives and home-wrecking attorneys had gone viral thanks to Tony's security cameras and Carrie's editing skills. Her therapist suggested closure. Elsa remarked dryly. "Apparently, she's still convinced she's the victim." Speaking of closure, Carrie turned to her father. "Ready for your interview? The world wants to know how you rebuilt after betrayal." Chauncey looked around his office at his daughter's confident professionalism, his wife's loving strength, his son's digital presence, the empire they'd built from the ashes of betrayal. "The key to rebuilding," he began as Carrie's cameras rolled, "is understanding that some foundations can't be repaired. Sometimes you need a complete demolition before you can build something stronger." The interview continued, documenting their journey from betrayal to triumph. Meanwhile, in a small Reno apartment, Miriam watched Tony's live stream with bitter regret. Her phone buzzed with another NDA violation notice. Her stipend would barely cover rent next month. In a minimum security prison, Rick Barnes stared at newspaper coverage of Cervantes and Associates' latest triumph. His parole officer had warned him any contact with his former partner or family would violate his release conditions. His cellmate watched CNBC, where Tony Cervantes was explaining how to detect corporate fraud through digital analysis. The documentary aired 6 months later. Critics praised its unflinching look at betrayal's consequences. Architectural journals highlighted Chauncey's metaphorical approach to rebuilding. Legal reviews commended Elsa's innovative protections for betrayed spouses. At the premiere, Chauncey and Elsa sat proudly with their children. Tony's security team kept the event private. Carrie's cameras captured everything. And somewhere in Reno, Miriam watched through a streaming service she could barely afford. Seeing the life she'd thrown away, the children who'd outgrown her, the empire she tried to steal now standing stronger than ever. The final scene showed the Cervantes family at their Lake Tahoe house, the site of the original betrayal, now completely redesigned. Carrie's documentary studio occupied the former master suite. Tony's gaming command center filled the great room. Chauncey and Elsa's architectural designs covered the walls where evidence of betrayal once hung. The thing about betrayal, Carrie's voiceover concluded, is that it shows you who people really are. My mother and her lovers showed us their truth. So we showed them ours. And we built something stronger than they could ever tear down. The credits rolled over scenes of their new life. Chauncey and Elsa reviewing plans for another groundbreaking project. Tony explaining digital security to corporate executives. Carrie accepting another documentary award. Hassan's security team protecting architectural innovations. The Cervantes Foundation helping other families rebuild. And in the final frame, a simple architectural drawing. The original house plans marked demolition approved, followed by blueprints for something newer, stronger, better. Because sometimes, as Chauncey often told his architectural students, the price of betrayal becomes the foundation of something priceless. The true cost, as Miriam and Rick learned too late, wasn't in the money they lost or the lives they destroyed. It was in the future they'd never share, the strength they'd underestimated, and the justice that would follow them forever. Some prices, after all, never stop being paid. Thanks to everyone who took the time to listen to today's stories. If you enjoyed it, please consider liking and subscribing if you haven't already. Feel free to share your thoughts on the events in the comments below. Take care.